Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I want to talk to you guys about my experience and clinicals and how to make them worth being there. Clinicals are important. Clinicals is where you get your first experience in the nursing field if you don't work in a hospital or anything like that. And I think clinicals is very important for you to develop your skills that you learn in school and lab and simulation, and just to be able to interact with patients and people if you haven't done that in the field already. So clinicals is a very important part of school, even though I know most of us may dread going to clinicals. I know I dreaded going to clinicals. It is very important and it is very beneficial to you. So before we get into the video, I would like to welcome back my oldies but goodies. Thank you so much for riding with me. And if you are new to my channel and you kind of sort of like me, you kind of sort of like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, and then hit that little bell as well. That way when I do upload, you guys can get notified of my new videos. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a like. Down below in the comments, let me know what other nursing school videos you want to see. I have been super busy, that's why I have not been able to put out any content, but I am about to graduate in 2 weeks, so yeah, I am doing Vlogmas right now, trying. It's my last 2 weeks of school, so I hope you guys are enjoying those videos, and let's jump into this one. So you start clinicals, at least in my school, we started clinicals in fundamentals and pharmacology. So for my pharmacology course, we went to clinicals one day, and really we didn't really do any work. It was more to see how nurses pass meds and what they do with all that type of stuff. In fundamentals is where we really did our clinicals. So in my school, we started at it wasn't hospice, but it was like an assisted living facility, but for lower income people, I guess you can say. That clinical experience was, I would say it was traumatic for my first clinical, because the facility that we went to, I mean, to me personally, it wasn't a good facility. I felt like they did not treat their patients well. It wasn't a good experience. I didn't really like going there. I didn't really get any experience with the patients, and the patients that are there are patients that are severely ill and like mentally ill. So I feel like those type of patients need a lot more attention and care. Not that all patients need attention and care, but I feel like when you have patients that may have a mental illness, they just need a little bit more attention. I did not like that clinical spot. I wish that I did not have to go there. Luckily we didn't have to go there for that long, but it wasn't really a good experience. For my adult 1 class, we went to hospice. Hospice was okay. The only thing was that we really didn't get to do anything. We weren't really hands-on. It was more like stuff that I do at work, like tech stuff, like cleaning patients, turning them, So then in my mental health class, we went to an assisted living facility as well, but it was just better than the first one that I had went to before. It was in a better part of town. The nurses really care. It was like for older people when they can't care for themselves, so they move into like an older adult home, I guess you can say. I'm really not sure what it's really called, but for that clinical, it was basically the same thing. Like, I feel like throughout my whole school experience, I did not get the clinical experience that I should have, that I deserved, especially for all the money that I pay to my school. I just felt like we didn't get the clinical experience that we really deserved and that we should have gotten, and that's what really sucked. I'm in my last quarter right now, and this is where I've gotten most of my clinical experience from. This is where I have gotten most of my learning from my teacher right now, and it's just like, whoa. I've been in school for a year and a half. I haven't been able really to do anything. I didn't even get to start IVs until last quarter. I probably started my first IV on a patient, and we learned IVs in our adult 1 course. So, and I took that course, I think, when did I take that course? Like in April. My adult 1 course I took in April of this year, and I didn't get to start IVs until last quarter, which we started in what, September it ended, so like October. I feel like I haven't had the clinical experience that I should have had. So last quarter in my adult 2 course, we went to clinicals in a hospital, and I actually got to do some hands-on work. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but the ED is the place that I want to be. That is where I want to work. That is where my heart is. I love the emergency department. I was able to spend some time in the emergency department, so I was able to start some IVs. I saw a lot of stuff. We were there on Saturdays though, so it wasn't really like, the ED is always busy, but in the other parts of the hospital, when I was like on the med-surg floor and stuff, I really did not get to do any really nursing care. It was more like tech care that I always do at work, and it's like, I'm not here to learn tech care. I'm here to learn and develop my nursing skills. Since we were there, I know you guys know that when you're in clinical, you get placed on a floor. Sometimes some teachers ask you what floor you prefer to be on, and if they can incorporate you into that floor, they will do that. I suggest that you try out all the floors when you're in clinical. 1 week go to med-surg, 1 week go to PCU, 1 week go to ICU, especially when you're getting closer and closer to graduating. That way you know exactly where you want to be. And when you are on those floors, I know it's difficult because sometimes you get nurses that really don't want you to be there and like don't want to teach you anything. But if you're there and you see a nurse that you like, that's really like cool and, you know, really informative, try and like scooch and follow her. Sometimes if I'm on a floor with my friends and I see that they have a really cool nurse, I'll go and tag along with them. I don't care. Like, I go where I am wanted, and if I have a nurse that's not going to show me anything, I'm like, no, bye. This is my clinical experience. I'm about to be a nurse. I need to be with somebody who's going to want to teach me. So if you do see somebody who isn't really like friendly and doesn't want you around, if you see another nurse that's kind of cool and that does want student nurses, I suggest you go and be with them. Ask as many questions as you can about everything. Even if you feel like you know it, still ask questions. They've been doing it for a long time. Some of them, they might be new nurses and they might be learning too, but always ask questions when you're in clinical, because you're there to learn. So especially from your instructor, if you get a chance to do something and you're not very confident in it, you know, call your instructor, have her or him, you know, explain it to you, help you through it. If you're starting your first IV, it's just very important that you ask a lot of questions when you're in clinical. Go to your patients, know your patients, look at their charts, make sure you get information on them. If you don't know a disease process, go and look it up. It's super important that you go and you look stuff up, look lab values up, look why they took this lab, why it's significant to this patient, what the normal values are. Just get as much information as you can. I know that sometimes it sucks, you don't want to be there, you want to go home, but it's important that you get your worth in clinical. So in the emergency room, last quarter actually, I would get stuck on like a certain floor, like med-surg floor, that I did not want to be on because you can only have a certain amount of students on each unit, and I would go and sneak off and go to the ED. Like, I was not playing. And I told my teacher, she called me one time because she was looking for me and my friend, and we had snuck off to the emergency room, and she was like, oh, I was looking for you guys. And we're just like, well, you know what, I'm med-surg, I'm not doing anything. I'm doing stuff that I do at work, and that's not what I'm here for. I want to learn, I want to do things that I don't do. I want to give nursing care, and this is where I want to be. I want to be in the ED, and there's no better place to be than where on the floor that you want to be on, learning what you need to learn. So I would sneak off. I didn't care. This is my education. I'm paying for this. I'm gonna be where the experience is, where I can learn and where I can do what I can do and learn how to be a nurse, you know? So for my last quarter, this is my last quarter, I am also, again, I have been in the ED. For 9 weeks, we have clinicals for 9 weeks in our last quarter in my adult 3 course, and I have been in the ED the whole entire time. My teacher, she is super awesome, and she asks us where we want to be like when we graduate, and I'm like, I want to be in the ED. So I've been in the ED the whole entire time. I've seen sepsis alerts, stroke alerts, I got to put in a Foley catheter, I've done IVs, I've drawn blood, I've done EKGs, I've done a lot of stuff. Obviously you can't do everything, but I feel like in the ED we get so much experience and so much knowledge about stuff, especially now that I'm in my adult 3 course and all the disease processes are kind of coming together, especially because my teacher's so awesome at teaching it. I feel like I'm just getting so much more information, and I just love being in the emergency department. They have such awesome nurses down there, and when I'm down there, I ask questions. I ask to help. I ask, can I start this IV? Can I take this blood? Can I do this Foley catheter? I ask to do everything that I possibly can. That way I get my experience and I can develop my skills, because it's very important to develop your skills once you're about to graduate. I mean, you're about to be a nurse, you need to know how to do these things. So I utilize my time in the ED as efficiently as I can, and I'm very lucky to have had such great teachers there. They are so awesome, and if I don't know something, if this person comes in with a certain diagnosis, I ask questions. I go look it up. I talk to my teacher, and my teacher is awesome. She wants us to tell us about all the patients that we have, about what's going on with them, about what we've tested, and she just makes us think deeper, and that is so important when you are in the nursing field. In the ED, you need to know how to prioritize, how to implement specific care for specific patients, and you just really got to be quick and think on your toes, and that is why I love it there. I love it in the emergency department, and it really sets me up for what it's going to be like when I am a nurse. Obviously, I'm going to be by myself or with a preceptor, so it's going to be different, because as a nursing student, you really can't do everything, but everything that we can do, I try to do. I give medications, I crush pills, I take patients to the bathroom, I answer Foley's, like I said, I'll take blood, I'll transfer patients to CT, I'll be in the room if we've had a stroke alert or a sepsis alert. Honestly, we have not yet seen a code. Even at work, I have not seen a code yet, and I really want, I know this sounds bad because we always say this in class and it's like, oh, you want to see a code, but I want the person to be okay, but I just want to get that experience in a code, because I feel like that's an important part of nursing, especially in the emergency department, and I want to know what it's like so that I can prepare myself. You know, I'm a very emotional person, so like, to me, if I see it, I'll probably like cry my eyes out, but I just want to be able to get that experience. But yes, every clinical, every quarter that you have, make sure you utilize it to your best abilities. Be straight up, be assertive, be like, tell your teacher, I have this nurse, she's not friendly, she don't want me to be with her, she don't want me to tag along, I need a new nurse, I need to find somebody who's gonna be willing to teach me, because this is my education, and I'm gonna be with patients, and it's their lives on the line, and I need to know what I'm doing, and I need to be with somebody who wants to teach me. Make sure you go in there and you do skills. Ask the nurse, can I do this? Can I do this? I was checked off, I can do this. Can you assist me, help me, walk me through it, whatever. Make sure that you utilize your time in clinical. It is very important. For my pediatric clinicals, I was in a hospital as well, and for my pediatric clinical, I was in the, not the NICU, but the pediatric ICU. And then for my maternal clinical, I was on mom baby, and I was in labor and delivery. I have to tell you that my labor and delivery experience was so awesome. There wasn't really much that we can do in labor and delivery, but my experience was awesome. I got to see a baby be born, and I literally cried my eyes out. It was the most amazing thing that I've ever seen in my entire life, besides the birth of my baby, of course, but it was just so beautiful, and I felt so fulfilled. So when you are in your maternal class, make sure that you try and go in labor and delivery, and hopefully you can see a birth, because it's really amazing, and I would not mind being a labor and delivery nurse. I loved it there. I loved working with the mom. I love babies, and it was just such a great experience. Like I said, you can't really do much there. Maybe sometimes if you're lucky and a mom first comes in because she's in labor, and you can do an IV, but in labor and delivery you can't really do much. It's more of just watching. And in mom baby, I got to bathe the baby, and I got to give a baby an injection, so that was awesome. I loved it. But there wasn't really anything much for us to do there. So like I said, in my whole entire year and a half of nursing school, right now my last semester is where I'm getting most of my experience. And in clinical, make sure that you just utilize your time. When I was on the pediatric, when I was at my pediatric clinical, I was in the pediatric ICU, and I had an awesome nurse. She was so amazing. Sometimes you get really blessed with awesome nurses, and I learned a lot from her while I was there. But while I was there, let's just say pediatrics is just, it isn't for me. While I was there, there was a baby, a 1-year-old, who was on a vent, who was basically brain dead. He had drowned, and he just turned 1 year old, and it was horrible. I remember the nurse doing her or the doctor doing her assessment on the baby, because she wanted to make sure she could show mom that your baby's not going to wake up. And she, you know, did, like, I guess kind of like the Glasgow coma scale test, and she opened the baby's eyes, took a little cotton swab and touched the baby's eyes, and literally he was just like nothing. He was like a doll, and it was the saddest thing. I almost literally passed out. I couldn't. Peds, people who do peds and who want to do peds, I really commend you, because that for me was just tough. You know, I left that clinical feeling very thankful for a healthy baby, and I'm about to cry, because it's like, it was just so sad, and I can't. I love children, I love little kids, but I don't think that I am the person for peds. Make sure that you try your best to utilize your time in clinicals. Clinicals is a very important time. It is where you get to develop your skills, and I know sometimes we get shitty placement or shitty nurses, and it's like, you need to take control, or try to take control, and tell your teacher, I need someone else. Jump in there, do work, ask questions. It's important, guys. It is very, very important. But in reality, honestly, in nursing school, you just learn like your disease processes and how to sort of kind of critically think, but you're gonna learn everything when you start working and you are in the nursing field. But if you can, try and get your experience and get your hands on wherever you can. I hope you guys have a great clinical experience. Let me know down below your best and your worst clinicals that you've had, and what skills you've been able to do on patients in the hospital or anywhere else. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you later.